Alex Answer here. It is November 26th, 2016 with a special report. There is a list that I just stumbled upon a few moments ago, and it's a longer list of the alleged fake news websites, but it goes even further to say that all those websites are pushing Russian propaganda. Now, you know my stance on Russia, and it's not a positive one. There are others that have taken a different direction in the alternative media in recent years, and I've spoken against that. I've also said certain things that the system is leading people into a trap, or that Donald Trump is leading people into a trap, or that Vladimir Putin is leading people into a trap. I've made these unpopular statements over the years, and I stand by each and every one of them. We're going to look now at this report from Zero Hedge, because what got my attention was the fact that the Drudge Report was mentioned. Now, there is decent news on a lot of these websites, and I'm going to mention some of the sites mentioned in the 200. The reason I'm doing a video about this is that one of the websites mentioned in the 200 is the website in which I post news. My associate's website is mentioned. My associate and I, we're not close friends. He pays me a few bucks to maintain his website. So I post real news. However, his politics are different than mine, and he has produced a number of videos that have gone fairly viral. And so a lot of these are heavy hitters in the alternative media. Some of the websites that are listed. Some of them are just straight news websites. Some of the sites mentioned in this 200 are fake news websites. And so for the first time, they're mentioning some of the fake news websites and the race baiting websites alongside other websites. I look at this list, I'm going to start mentioning names. I'm going to say that I don't believe that this list was all that fair. Again, by lumping in certain websites, activistpost.com. It's a pretty decent website. To be labeling that fake news, I could see how there's deception there. So this is a more sophisticated list in the fact there's truth and fiction within it. If someone were to go website by website, even blacklistnews.com is listed, which isn't a bad website. And so the question is, are these websites that are going to be demonetized by Google because they're being called fake news websites? And if so, I will be, who knows how long I'll be able to be doing what I'm doing. But I'll tell you what, I don't believe it'll be forever. And the question is, remember back in the 1980s where they started saying, oh, well, because of violence in the lyrics and certain things, we better put a warning sticker on a warning sticker on the CD. And, and Dee Snider spoke against that, where he was going through the Inquisition where they, singled out Twisted Sister, and Tipper Gore was saying that, some of the songs are about violence and bonded sex. And he's like, oh, it's not my fault you have a dirty mind. That's not what the song's about. It's about this. It's about a throat operation. What if this is going to be like that? And really what this is giving a plug to a lot of these websites. And I did tell you before that was free promotion for Alex Jones when Clinton and Obama mentioned InfoWars. InfoWars made this list again. InfoWars is making most of the lists. I've seen a few of them, and I'm seeing how people are really creating the list using their own bias. What is real? What is true? All in the eye of the beholder. Initially when the fake news stuff came out, there was a fair amount of denial in the alternative media, and I'm telling you, there is fake news. And I've been calling it out for a year or two. And a lot of it seems to center on really exaggerated farce stories of Islamic invasion news. Did that determine the election? No, I believe the election was already determined, and I made statements long before Trump's election that I believe that all that was predetermined, and what we were seeing on TV with the debates was just there to keep the people fighting and at each other's throats. And that is still ongoing. This is still an ongoing issue. So that's been my position. So when the whole fake news thing came out, the alternative media was busy denying it. Look at the mainstream media going, who are you calling fake news? You ever thought about looking in the mirror? So they produced their own lists to where they attacked the left. But what they did not do is mention some of the real fake news headlines. Matt Agarist, whatever his real name is, but the author by the pen name of Matt Agarist at Free Thought Project, did cite that some of these articles that called out the fake news sites, instead of going after the fake news, they went after Activist Post. Okay, they went after Free Thought Project. What's that about? And they left off EU Times and whatdoesitmean.com. Those websites got really active a few years ago. There was an article in 2013 that a lot of people were buying into that Facebook was promoting. That was talking about a Russian invasion in the year 2013 or World War III between Obama and Putin in 2013. And a lot of their articles would sometimes talk about the aliens intervening in the world, and being either, usually pro-Putin and anti-Obama, or vice versa. There was also fake disinformation from the Galactic Federation of Light saying that Obama was one of the returning ascended masters. So there's different types and flavors of fake news, but ultimately, on a sophisticated level, it's been planted into the American alternative media to create distortion. And so really the mainstream media is attempting to gain some credibility, even though people say, well, you're just not credible. But there are people that have been saying recently that the actions of the alternative media are in a way helping the mainstream media. And I know this is considered blasphemy, but if you look at the amount of race baiting that's been going on, and Red Eyes Creations has not made the list. Red Eyes Creations deserves to be on the list for the direction that they've gone in. InfoWars deserves it. PrisonPlanet.com deserves it. Paul Joseph Watson isn't on this list because they're choosing to go with the lists that are the most popular. They say a total sum of 15 million Americans. It doesn't say whether that's per month, but these are more than 200 websites that have been labeled Russian propaganda. And like I said, one of the websites that is on this list is not my website, but I post news on the website. But even though all the news that I post is real and factual, I've posted some things that I believe are within the genre and opinion of the site's owner. And I believe that the editorial videos that he has produced, and I think everyone should have the right to produce editorials to where they speak their mind. If not, where's free speech? But it seems like that is being punished when it's labeled news. And sometimes under categories, people can label what their site is or what they list their Facebook page as, news, entertainment, etc. And so, they went down the line and they looked at the, the big alternative media sites labeled under news. And of course, if they're going to go after alternative media, well, eventually they'll find alternativemedia.com. You know what I mean? Or amtvmedia.com. And I was concerned for the site that eventually something like that would happen. Also, keep in mind, folks, as the webmaster, that if they were interested in knowing, well, where's the webmaster? Oh, it's this dude over here. So, of course, I'm handling my own work and my own controversy. And then, of course, I'm running someone else's website that now is basically flagged. So, of course, when I talk about I want to become more independent economically from my own audience only. I want to appreciate those that have started to help out, and I want people to understand why I'm going to be talking about donations more often, for me to become independent from other people and what they're doing. Tell you what, if they go after this website, I can kiss that job goodbye. Probably. Where's the money going to come from if they go after this guy? And then again, they may not go after this guy and these other websites. This could all be about really promoting the biggest Donald Trump supporters. So this could be a psyops itself. Oh, we're blacklisting these websites. Are you really? Or is this a veiled reward through name dropping and providing more hits to those websites? And I'm not whole scale demonizing all these websites or necessarily supporting any of them. There's some websites that I mentioned already that I said I don't believe that they deserve to be put on the list. It seems unfair. But then again, have or have not the Russian talking points overtaken what is called the alternative media? Yes or no? And it's not an attack. It means there's going to be certain risks that come with having a pro-Russia message that's going viral on the Western social media. It's inevitable that there would be some type of blowback. But I keep bringing it down to this. We don't know if this means an attack on these people that run these websites is coming. What if this is promotion? What if this is a reward? Think carefully. Has Alex Jones been punished? Or has Alex Jones been rewarded by the mainstream media? Think carefully. Think carefully and think again and pause. Do you know how much it costs to advertise on Coast to Coast AM? Do you know how much it costs to advertise during the Super Bowl? Do you know how much it costs to advertise? Anything. A little commercial for a little mom and pop restaurant in your own hometown. Well, that's cheap compared to the big leagues. Where you're reaching millions of people with an ad. Wow, during Super Bowl. So think about the monetary value of that name dropping when Clinton does it, when Obama does it. Alex Jones thinks I smell like a demon. Nope, no demon here. Hillary calling Alex Jones, have the blank heart. And then these dumb people that think that all those people that are dissenting against Trump support Clinton. You can't be a 9/11 truther or question 9/11 and be a Clinton supporter. That's not how things work. Some of these people are really less than intelligent individuals that are around supporting Trump, thinking that if you're against Trump, you're a radical leftist. They need to go back and see what Clinton's really about and see what some of us are really about. See that we are actually operating outside that system. We really need to see an insurgence in the free media because of this contamination in the alternative media. We can see how associations with those in the alternative media can create this type of persecution. And the lists are going to continue. This is going to be like a game now. People are angry. By design, Donald Trump was there to enrage people. So they're going to take their anger out. They're going to label. They're going to drop their lists. We're pissed off. We got to drop the list. How'd this happen? These websites did it. No, a rigged election did it. That's unfortunate. People on the left and the right aren't getting that. It's unfortunate that the alternative media and the mainstream media aren't working together to figure out the forces that are overtaking America. But, there's a time and a place for pipe dreams. For now, let's talk about the websites. Again, this is a disclaimer. I am not condemning these websites. I am also not supporting all these websites. Some of the websites I'm familiar with, some of the websites I'm not familiar with. There are some websites mentioned that are fake news. The alternative media and the mainstream media collectively have really failed to discuss the fake Islamic invasion news. Thus, what you're really seeing is a war of the media. The independent media and the mainstream media, the left media and the right media. And then in some cases, real news versus the real fake news. And it's not all one way. It's very abstract because some of these sites are fake and some of these websites should not have been targeted. And some websites that should be mentioned as fake are not mentioned. So they've really just mixed things up here. Some of the websites have decent headlines mixed in with videos or other headlines that are overtly pro-Russia, and in some cases worshiping Putin, to a point where, let me just say this and I'll start reading the list. They are acting as if they really are Russian propaganda media outlets, even if they're not. The beliefs of some of the webmaster owners or editors may be under this spell. There's a guy named David who listens to this channel. By the way, he shared with me a dream that he had of Putin sending this cake to all 50 states and putting them into a dream, a slumber, to worship Russia. It's happening. I've been calling it out for years. I'm on record not being a part of this spell. I'm on record not being a part of this spell. And I want to remind you of that at this time, that I've been talking about this for years. And I've had numerous pinch myself moments to where things that I've talked about or predicted are happening. And so now we see this witch hunt in the alternative media. And let me just say this before I get started. I am glad that I never got on board some of the mainstream talking points. I never got involved in the alternative media by being a follower to begin with. I was an independent thinker to begin with. So I never changed. I never stopped being true to myself. If anything, I just became more true to myself to a point where, okay, I'm going to go off grid and I'm going to abstain from living in this type of environment, in a world where very few others in the alternative media have done so. And then we see how the technology has clearly affected them. Internet fake news has clearly affected some of the individuals. We've seen Alex Jones shift from being anti-establishment to being pro-establishment, pro-Russia, pro-Trump, anti-Muslim, anti-Middle Eastern immigrant. Is it because they're all being paid by Russia? Or is it because some of them are under a spell? And so, in the case of Alex Jones and others, I do believe that you're seeing a Russian agent, or agents of something that is maybe even higher than Russia, that is there at the moment to play the pro-Russian talking points. And then you see others taking their cue from Alex Jones, thinking that Alex Jones is a man of truth, and that these are safe talking points to go with, but they're not safe talking points to go with. So some people aren't Russian propagandists intentionally, but they end up that way because they're influenced themselves, because they're not truly thinking independently. And therein is the problem, and how someone can be labeled a Russian propagandist. You know, I put out a video years ago featuring a man's dream of this country being attacked by Russia and China. And I watched the entire alternative media, and I even batted an eye, like, wait a minute. This whole U.S. destroyed by design thing does seem very real and creepy, as they build up a new world order in the East. And for years have I warned about this, and for years have people scoffed at me. And the answer is, for years people have scoffed at me. So, this is a very important development in the history of media, to see that now, after years of the Russians co-opting the alternative media, now those alternative media websites that have ran with some of the talking points, they're being put out on Front Street. And the question is this really the beginning of a demonization effort? Or is the true establishment that does operate behind the scenes, if you will? There's a reason why certain Washington Post or other editorials are putting out certain bits of information, because this is very valuable name dropping that actually in many cases costs money to get this type of advertising. So is this really the beginning of a punishment under the Trump administration of all administrations? Or is this a reward for services rendered? Okay, let's just mention some of the websites. Activistpost.com, fourthrevolutionarywar.wordpress.com, abledanger.net, abovetopsecret.com, ahtribune.com, allnewspipeline.com. That website had a lot of fake news. AmericanLookout.com. AmericanFreedomFighters.com. Ooh, American freedom fighters are okay, but the Afghan freedom fighters, that's Taliban. And, I'm constantly seeing this doublethink in the alternative media. That in a way has made it an easy target, some of these websites, because they're engaging in doublethink, whether or not they're being paid by Russia or they're just under a spell. AMREN.com. And then here we have AMTVmedia.com, the website where I make the updates. Moving forward, ancient-code.com. Anonews.com. Must be for anonymous. AnonymousHQ.com. Antiwar.com. Asia-Pacific-Research.com. AssassinationScience.com. BaltimoreGazette.com. BareNakedIslam.com. BeforeIt'sNews.com. BeforeIt'sNews.com does deserve to be put on the fake news list. BigNuggetsNews.com. And then some of these other websites might also deserve to be on the list. I've never heard of them. BareNakedIslam.com probably deserves to be on the list. BlacklistedNews.com I don't feel deserves to be on the list. But because of the pro-Putin articles that I believe the webmaster may have posted. Again, we're looking at things that may make certain websites targets. And I believe you can be anti-establishment and see through the Putin deception. You can see through all these misleaders and stay true to yourself and keep exposing the new world order. You can do that. The reality is a lot of people have chosen not to do that. And they've chosen to promote Putin as a messiah. And it's leading to this. It's leading to this witch hunt. And one name that you will not see on this is AlexAnsary.tv. Continuing on. ChristianFightback.com. CollectiveEvolution.com. ConservativeDaily.com. ConsortiumNews.com. CorbettReport.com. CosmicScientist.com. CounterCurrents.org. CounterInformation.wordpress.com. CounterPunch.org. DailyOccupation.com. DailyStormer.com. DarkMoon.me. DarkPolitics.com. David Stock. ManScottSomethingRather.com. DCClothesline.com. DCLeaks.com. DefendDemocracy.press. And then a few others. Disclose.tv. That deserves to be on the list. I looked at that website a couple years ago and I'm like, I really wonder who's running this. Because like beforeits.com, it's like mostly fake and Project Bluebeam alien invasion nonsense. Disclose.tv like start out like a little bit interesting. And then you look at it now, it's like, oh my God, this is like all fake alien invasion news mostly. And Putin the Messiah and some other stuff thrown in. So Disclose.tv deserves to be on the list. DrudgeReport.com has made the list. And some are adamantly against that because he's just hyperlinking to the mainstream media. But he will also link to propagandas. He will link to InfoWars. He will link to other websites not mentioned. He will link to things that race bait. So Drudge, in a way, has made himself a target by mixing himself with strange bedfellows. And this is not a new thing. Again, this is a list indicating the most popular, biggest hitters for Putin. So it's not necessarily all considered fake news. These are technically websites that have been labeled the Russian propagandist websites. EducateYourself.org. EducateInspireChange.org. EndingTheFed.com. Now, of course, some of these websites started out more legitimate, and a lot of people have been compromised in recent years. Now, I don't think that's fair to, and there hasn't really been yet any news of these websites having their monetization taken away. again, the question is that going to happen, or is this really PR for the websites, for services rendered? Because what I'm expressing to you is Russia really do has weight within this country and within the alternative media. And there are ways in which it seems like the media is going after Putin or going after Russia, but only to a point. In reality, what's really going on here may be a reward. The name dropping, I mean, some people work their whole lives to get their websites mentioned in the mainstream media. And that's all they want. And they work 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 to make viral, big time content that people are going to see, and click and watch. And they work and they work and they work and they work. And so right now, the names of these websites are going all across the world. And if anything, their SEO ratings should go up. The question is, now that they're getting extra mentions, what's going to happen now? Is Google really going to punish these websites? Because knowing how Google works, you see how Google and YouTube and Twitter have been busy telling you, Putin Messiah this, Trump this. They've played their role in this. The establishment social media websites have played their role in this. Do you understand? So are they really going after the websites? And I'm not saying they should. Or is something else happening? Is this a reward? You're going to have to find it at zerohedge.com. There's a lot of websites here. Okay, globalresearch.ca. I'm going to have to wrap things up. henrymacau.com. humansarefree.com. infowars.com. in5d.com, the website of Militia Walling, who's trying to help people break free from the archons. Of course, there may be some pro-Putin ascended master disinformation from the Galactic Federation of Light that was syndicated on in5d.com. intelhub.com. jewsnews.co. That's one of the most important websites to know about with regards to fake Islamic rape invasion news. libertyblitzkrieg.com. lewrockwell.com. nakedcapitalism.com. naturalnews.com. website of Mike Smith, or Mike Adams, former associate of Alex Jones. naturalblaze.com. zerohedge.com. wikileaks.com. whatreallyhappened.com. what does it mean.com. Again, source should fall right there. wearechange.org. Definitely pro-Russia. Remember one time Luke Kradowski sent me a message on Facebook asking me to explain why I thought RT was a part of the New World Order, that it was a propaganda arm of the New World Order, and I explained it to him, and he just never responded. He just thought it was funny. He just, I don't understand. So, in a way, I've always seen Luke Kradowski as a little pro-Russia, talking point, so-called truther, that in a way, has played his role in this, good cop, bad cop, Russia good, but really it's just an inside job in the United States, which I've always felt was really short-sighted to say that it was, just an inside job and it was just Cheney's fault, knowing that 9/11 was a much bigger operation. Continuing on, wakingtimes.com, wakeupthesheep.org, Vigilant Citizen, veteranstoday.com. Definitely a fake news website. I truly feel sorry for you if you think anything is real on veteranstoday.com. What, maybe like 1 out of 10 posts? Stormcloudsgathering.com. Again, some of you may be fans of these websites, and there are some of these websites that put out some good info, like shithitthefanplan.com,